Hello and welcome to Dental Studies Simplified. I am Dr. Ankita Kotecha and today's topic is furcation involvement. How to treat the grades of furcation involvement. Decision making on how to make the treatment plan for each type of furcation involvement. So according to Glickman's classification, we have grade 1, grade 2 and grade 3 and grade 4 of course, but grade 4 does not have any proper treatment plan except for that we make the site more maintainable for oral hygiene maintenance. That's it. So we will consider 3 grades as per Glickman's classification, 1, 2 and 3. So grade 1 is only suprabony pocket. So for grade 1 the treatment plan is non-surgical periodontal therapy and oral hygiene instructions. Clear? So non-surgical can be ultrasonics or hand scalers or combination, whichever indicated in that case, followed by oral hygiene instructions to the patient. Clear? Very simple treatment plan for grade 1 furcation involvement. I repeat, non-surgical periodontal therapy and oral hygiene instructions for patient. Clear? Coming to grade 2, this is an important involvement of furcation to be considered from treatment plan point of view. So here we have to consider it is a grade involvement with vertical and horizontal, both the components involved, that is interradicular bone loss present. So now it has become a proper furcation defect. So the defect has to be analyzed for its depth mainly. So we can have 3 case scenarios here. The depths may be shallow, intermediate or deep. Clear? See, if it is a shallow furcation involvement with shallow depth of the defect, consider apical positioning of the flap, apically positioned flap, to make the cleanliness or oral hygiene maintenance of that furcation involved site more better. Clear? This is the treatment plan for shallow defects of furcation involvement grade 2. Coming to deep defects, we have to consider whether the tooth in question is of strategic value or not. So if it is not, then consider extraction. Yes, you heard that right. Grade 2 furcation involvement with deep depth of the defects should be considered for extraction provided the teeth are not strategic. But if it is strategic, then you should consider bone regeneration. Now bone regeneration can be with or without a membrane, that is GTR. Clear? I'll repeat, grade 2 furcation involvement means it is a definitive furcation defect. Now the defect has to be analyzed for its depth mainly. So if the depth is shallow, intermediate or deep. If it is shallow, consider apical positioning of the flap so that the furcation defect is now accessible for proper routine oral hygiene maintenance. Simple. But if it is a deep defect, consider whether the tooth in question, that is the tooth with furcation involvement and a deep depth of the defect, is of strategic value or not. Whether retention of such tooth will add to the quality of the life of the patient, will enhance the dentition or the activity of the dentition. If no, then consider extraction of such tooth. But yes, if it is strategic, then consider bone regenerative procedure with or without a membrane, that is guided tissue regeneration. Now coming to the intermediate depth, consider either. Yes. Depending on the other case factors consideration, we may choose between apical positioning of the flap or a regenerative procedure with or without GTR. This is the treatment outline for decision making about grade 2 furcation involvement. Coming to grade 3, it is different for both maxillary and mandibular molars. But again the first point is whether it is strategic or no. So if it is not strategic, consider extraction. Simple. Yes, when we can consider grade 2 furcation involvement tooth of no strategic value for extraction, grade 3 is a definitive answer for extraction if the tooth in question is of no strategic value. But if it is of strategic value, then the treatment plan is different from maxillary teeth and mandibular teeth. For maxillary teeth, we have the options of root resection or apical positioning of the flap, and for mandibular, we have the options of hemisection, bicuspidization or apical positioning of flap. Now, why apical positioning of the flap? Yes, to convert the grade 3 percussion involvement into a grade 4, which is accessible to the patient for routine oral hygiene maintenance. Remember the difference between grade 3 involvement and grade 4? Yeah, the only difference is the position of the gingival margin. Grade 3 percussion involvement is occluded by gingiva, whereas grade 4 is a clinically visible percussion involvement. So yes, here in case of the treatment considerations for grade 3, if we have chosen apical repositioning of the flap, then it is because we are trying to convert the grade 3 percussion involvement into a grade 4, which is accessible to the patient for routine oral hygiene maintenance. Simple. But before doing that step, we should rather consider the other available procedures. That is for maxillary teeth. Let's say if there is a direct through and through percussion involvement. Yes, grade 3 is a through and through percussion involvement. Let us revise. Grade 2 is a partial involvement of the percussion defect. That is, there is bone present on one end. Clear? Like it is cul-de-sac. Clear? Whereas grade 3 is through and through. Complete bone loss in the interradicular region. So let's say for maxillary molar, if there is a through and through percussion loss between facial percussion and the distal percussion, that is the distal root is involved clearly, then we must consider distal root resection. Similarly, if it is a through and through percussion involvement between facial and the mesial percussion, then we should consider root resection of mesial root, provided there is a proper root separation and other factors are also favorable. But again, if we perform this procedure and do apical positioning of the flap, again the accessibility will still remain difficult. That is why we should consider the strategic value of the tooth in question. Similarly, for mandibular molars, if it is tooth involvement between, let's say, if any one of the roots is involved clearly, like between the two roots, if one root is more severely involved, then we should consider hemisection, that is cutting the tooth into two halves and removing the one half which is severely involved, which has no better prognosis. Clear? Whereas if both the parts are in a good condition but there is only a proper through and through bone loss in the percussion region, but the bone availability is for the individual halves after bicuspidization is sufficient to support the individual halves, then we should consider bicuspidization. But again, after doing any given treatment options here, patient must be thoroughly educated for the disease that he had carried and the treatment that we did, and now the ball is in his court. Yes, we have done our job of doing any treatment that was considered for that case particularly, but now it is the patient's job to maintain whatever we have done, because the ultimate prognosis lies in the hands of the patient. Yes, you heard that right. Patient is mainly responsible to carry forward the prognosis, mainly, or at least maintain the prognosis that we had assessed for this case. Yes. This completes the topic decision making on how to treat the percussion involvement. I hope this topic is clear to you all, but if you still have any doubts or any queries, feel free to ask me in the comment section below or mail me at my email ID dentalstudiessimplified@gmail.com. I have one more clarification to do. This decision making series is referred from the decision making textbook by Walter Hawkes. Clear? Thank you for watching and listening to me. Study well. Have a good day. Stay safe.